Hello, Sarah. It is always so beautiful to see you, and you look so gorgeous.
Thank you, Vivian. It's great to see you too.
Yeah, I was really keen to have a chat with you because you are the face of the younger woman that comes to me. And it is so important to change your life when you are your age because then you've got the whole rest of your life ahead of you. So I'd love to talk to you about that and to ask you, how much a difference has it made just working together in your life? Like, how different do you feel now to what you were before? And then we can talk about what you were like before.
Yeah, I feel very different. Like I see the world more objectively versus then seeing the world through my romantic glasses is how now that's how I differentiate it now in my mind. So, oh, my objective world versus my romantic world.
And what does that mean? What is your romantic world?
Not really seeing things for what they are at face value,
Right.
but rather what they could be or what it might be, but yet it's not what is.
Yeah, and that can lead you into trouble, can't it?
A lot of trouble.
Yeah, give
Yeah.
me some examples. Relationships, I guess.
Relationships, yes. Oftentimes you'll meet someone, maybe even romantically, you'll meet somebody and you'll say, ah, well, maybe, that already is already seeing it through your romantic rosy glasses versus no, it's clearly not, right? Unless you walk in and go, yes,
Or
that's
the
already
glass, or the glasses that I make you put on. Is that a good enough offer for me?
right. Love it. Yes.
So let talk about because you're sitting there looking really confident, beautiful. You're got a very successful career and you're doing really fantastic. Well, tell me about your job. You're going gangbusters now, aren't you?
Oh, that's so sweet. I am now pursuing I am working on projects at work that will lead me into a leadership role and aspiring for that into the new year. So, not previously what I was doing.
And that was your goal when I remember when I said to you, what is the one of the biggest outcomes you want at the end of, working together for 8 weeks? And that was your very big one, is going towards that leadership role, wasn't it?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
tell me, how about describing, because I don't think anyone would believe me if I told them, um, what you were like when you came to me. Just so
I
people
would
can
run
get a picture.
circles. I would run circles on what was happening in my mind and what was happening in my life, but maybe, but this, but that. And that is definitely not who I was at face value, maybe the first time you met me, but once you got to know me, my conversations would would make you do laps around the race course.
Well, what I saw was a really confident, successful woman who was doing really well, actually, but just that overthinking, spinning around. What if this? What if that? What if that? What if that? What will that person think of me? What will they think of me? Was just that tiny self-sabotage.
Yes, that's totally it. That
So,
I call it self-doubt, the
yeah.
wheel of doubt.
So, how much did that self-doubt just cripple you, do you think? Or just get in your way?
Oh, I think it got in my way plenty. I it would just get in my way. It would just really it would prevent me from doing more of what I really wanted to be doing and instead make me feel stuck really in my thoughts because when you're on that hamster wheel that I call it of self-doubt, it takes up time and it takes up energy and it really takes you away from the other things that you really could be doing, like reading that book you've always wanted to read, achieving that goal you've always wanted to achieve. And so it's drastically different because once you're not in that same space, you're able to see things very clearly and then not occupy your time and energy with the self-doubt and rather with all the other wonderful things that there are to do in the world.
Yeah, it's incredible. Self-doubt is just a monster that grows. And the more you let it grow and go out of control in your life, the more you just can't the less you can reach your potential.
Yes.
And you saw that really clearly, didn't you? You knew where you wanted to go. And you said, I just can't stop getting in my way. but I know I need to, and I want to.
Yeah.
Is that a fair description?
That's a very fair description. And I knew I was getting in my own way, but I couldn't see what it was that was getting in my way.
Yeah, you just needed someone to say, this is what's going on. So did you have any reservations? I know, when people, are asked to start looking deep inside themselves and opening that box inside to see what those self-doubts are, see what those insecurities are, they have a lot of fear about it. Did you have any fears about that?
I did, definitely. I had only had the perspective I've always had, right? And while I knew that there was a piece of the puzzle that was missing in my mind because I felt I was getting in my own way and I didn't quite know what that piece of the puzzle was, I also thought maybe this is just who I am. And my fear was that I wouldn't come out on the other side feeling different or having a different perspective or really discovering or unfolding what that piece of the puzzle was that was missing. That was a really big fear of mine.
Yeah, the what if it doesn't work for me? What if I am flawed? Yeah, I get that a lot, actually. So what was that missing piece, do you think? What was the most, well, there was a lot of stuff, I know, but what would be the outstanding sort of mind shift or the missing piece you think that's really, as you said, made yourself see so clearly now?
Realizing how much is out of my control and really what is truly in my control. That was a huge, huge, huge piece, and how much I try to hold on to what's not in my control.
Yeah, out of fear.
Out of fear, absolutely. But I just totally did not see it that way before,
You also said to me that one of the other really profound things that you learned was the difference between reacting emotionally and taking the breaths, holding a strong boundary, and responding how you choose. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. They're all really intersect. It's the entire package at the end of the day. So when you realize how much is not in your control and you realize what is in your control, you start to respond to the world versus react to the world. Because when you don't have control over things, really, what is there left for you to worry about? What is there really left for you to do? And so the question becomes, how do I really want to manage this? What do I really want to do about this? What do I want out of this? Is there anything that I really want out of this? Or is my fear getting in the way of what's happening and therefore leading me into a state of wanting to control what the outcome might be? Instead of stepping back and taking a moment and having some space to really think through, or just perhaps take a pause of perhaps it doesn't matter. And so you just naturally gravitate from reacting to truly responding. And they all just link up together.
It's a very simple thing, isn't it? But it's hard to do in reality because you get triggered all day, every day. But what was really interesting was you didn't tell your boss at work that you were doing this work with me, and they noticed.
Yes, actually, one of my mentors noticed and my boss noticed. So I meet with the mentor regularly every month. And after our last mentoring session, she wrote me an email and she said, I can tell you've been doing a lot of work and it shows. You have grown immensely over the last year. And I'm really, I'm really impressed with the work you've put in. And in the same breath, my boss, we meet regularly on a weekly basis. And she just said, Sarah, things have really evolved. And I'm not sure if it's because you're really busy or what's going on, but something's definitely different. And I said, no, it's intentional. So it's really nice to be acknowledged without really having even said anything at all.
Yeah, it's amazing because you change you on the inside and everything else changes around you. You don't have to control it.
No.
It's brilliant. And so that's had an impact on your work, hasn't it? Because as you said, you're now giving more leadership roles. What's been the greatest impact, you think, of just this incredible change within you?
Having one, I think really having the confidence to stand up, when I have something to share with a group, I think is huge. The confidence to know that I'm saying the right thing, without overthinking, what is the other person thinking? Am I saying the right thing? All the questions you might ask yourself when you're giving a presentation to somebody else, or when you're sharing your thoughts and ideas. So that's really liberating more than anything. And in addition to that, the projects at work that have been given to me, and all the positive feedback and the opportunities that can come of everything, without, again, being in control of the outcome, just letting them flow. But there are things I before wouldn't have had the capacity to do. Prior, I just did not have the capacity to take on more work. And essentially, to take on a leadership role, you have to take on projects before you can get into leadership. And so I can't give myself the exposure. I can't take on the project if I don't have the emotional capacity. And so this has really just made all the space to be able to focus and take things on without overthinking them. It's liberating. It's the biggest impact.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And what I noticed very much is that stillness about you now. Your head isn't whirring 1,000 miles an hour. I mean, I loved it. It was gorgeous. But you've got that calm confidence now, that stillness.
Thank you. I feel it. I feel much more at peace than I ever have.
And do you think when it comes to, say, relationships, I know you're not actively looking at the moment, has it impacted your relationships with friends, family, potentially down the track with a future partner, do you think?
I think so. I say I'm very grateful to have great friends. They're so gracious, and they've been a wonderful, wonderful support. But I am aware that I must have an impact on the conversations I have with them. It naturally, when someone needs more assistance getting through their thoughts, it has to have an impact on others, right? So that has been, I think, more freeing in our friendships too, because conversations are more fluid. Maybe they're not as single focused, and I can be as a support to my friends as well. So it's just a different dynamic. It's a different way of having a conversation versus running rampant. We can get through more subjects in the same hour than we used to. How about that? Yeah.
I love your honesty. Then you go, blah, 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 head spin out loud.
I'll talk about many more things in an hour. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. That's beautiful. And well, can you describe what it's, because people see me, people get to know me, but you don't really know me until you work with me. Can you describe what that process was like? And you can be as honest as you like. I've got pictures.
I think that you're really as lovely as you come off.
I'll tell my husband that.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
I do, though. I think you're just as lovely as you come off. And frankly, as a person who is always really evaluating, is this the right situation for me? I thought, is she going to be just as lovely as she is, from the beginning? And I thought, actually I was having an opportunity there when you and I first spoke, of saying to myself, believe the good voice or not, that circle that drives me. And so I thought, you know what? Yes, I'm going to believe the good voice. She's really that lovely. And you were just as lovely throughout the entire process. So I think that's the best way to describe you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, I hope it's a little bit of tough love too. I hope I keep you accountable as well.
You do. You hold it accountable, and you push to the truth just enough.
I see that as my job, actually, to push to the truth. Because I'm not going to serve anybody if I'm just going, yep, you know what, everything's going to be fine. Here's a Band-Aid. Right. I need to shine a light on sometimes the dark places so that you can be free of them, and then turn towards the light and change your life, So, I do have a lot of people who get to that point, and they do get a bit scared, because obviously I work with a lot of women who have come from a lifetime of abusive relationships, and they fear trusting somebody again. And so what would you say or tell anybody who has that little bit of self-doubt and that fear when I'm saying, grab my hand, let's do this? Because, you know, I do make people make this choice. And it is out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, I would say do it because you just won't regret it. It's very much a fast track into the bright light. You know, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and going with you will just fast track that process versus waiting 10, 15, 20 plus years to really get there and maybe not get all the way.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it's been so beautiful working with you. And as I said, I'm so happy that you found me at the age you are, because I look back at my life and think, had I not done what you've just done and put in the work and gone through that initial pain to get to the light quickly, I don't know what my life would look like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you think yours would have been like had you not been bold enough to say, you know what, now's the time to put the work in on myself?
I'd still be driving my friends nuts. I definitely do not think I would have the opportunities that I'm currently pursuing. I just don't think I would have had the capacity because I'd still be overthinking what happened yesterday. Just simply put. And I think maybe I had waited, and I believe that I at some point would have seen the light or have had a different perspective, but I believe it would have taken me, into my 70s and beyond, or maybe not. The truth is maybe not either, right? You really don't know because I'm not 70, so I can't speak from that perspective. But being optimistic, I would say when I'm 70, and even then, who knows? Because if you don't ask yourself certain pointed questions in order to see yourself from a different perspective, you might never see a different perspective.
You might never grow.
Mm-mm.
Well, it's been just the most beautiful experience working with you, and I love that you're in my life now. And I just can't wait to see you go on to enormous career success. You do remind me very much of myself when I was your age. So I know without a doubt that you're going to be hugely successful. And I just can't wait to watch your trajectory to that success.
Sorry, can I tell you that is just the biggest compliment, because I think you're amazing, and you've been through the entire, that was my big reason with wanting to go with you, is because you've been everywhere I'd like to be, and, you know, a great relationship, and you've been on the successful end of female success, right? And executive roles and so forth. And those are roles I would like to pursue in my life. And for you to say, you know, you see yourself very much in me, I take it as a very big compliment. So thank you. That means there's a great thing.
And I just wish I was your age again. Actually, I wouldn't change a thing though. And I'm so glad that you've sort of looked at all the challenges you've had in your life and just said, what can I learn from this? And being bold and courageous about going, right, Viv, shine the light. I'm opening up. Show me the dark bits. And to see where you've come. So thank you for trusting me with that journey, fast track to your success, because to have just been even a tiny bit of that makes me really honored. I mean it.
Thank you. Thanks for guiding me.